This is Amateur Survival. I'm Darin Cardin. I'm a novice survivalist going on a 2-day simulated survival trip. This time I'm in a canyon in southern Utah. I'll be testing out survival techniques I've seen on TV and the internet. I'm going to put these techniques to the test and see if a normal person with no formal training can use them effectively. The Red Cliffs Desert Reserve is located in southwestern Utah and contains about 90 miles of rugged terrain. It's known for the fact that the rock here is dark red in color. This curious feature is due to the presence of iron within the rock. When accompanied with water, iron will produce rust, which gives the rock its reddish appearance. This area, as well as the whole state of Utah, offers some of the most unique landscapes in the world. Thousands of years ago, Utah was the floor of an ancient ocean. Much of today's environment was influenced by the water that used to be here. The Utah salt flats are 40 square miles of nothing but salt. This was all left behind from the seawater. The lake of Salt Lake City is the remains of this ocean. The summer climate brings a variety of plant life. Far from a lifeless wasteland, the desert is alive with growth. Colorful flowers litter the ground. Cactus fruit ripens in the sunlight. The desert is in full bloom. This desert is home to a surprising array of wildlife. Common animals like lizards and rabbits are easy to spot. Other, more exotic animals also make their home here. Animals such as eagles, rattlesnakes, and even mountain lions. This southwest state is also home to one of the strangest bugs on Earth, the tarantula hawk. This wasp can grow over 2 inches, the largest of its kind. As its name suggests, it hunts tarantulas. The sting of this creature is considered one of the most painful in the world, ranking just under the bullet ant. Though usually docile to humans, it's one more thing I need to be careful of. I'll be spending 2 days here with limited supplies. So I found something here that's actually edible, not only edible, but quite tasty. So this is the Pincushion Cactus. So it looks like kind of your standard cactus, kind of like a small barrel shape. So one of the unique things about this cactus is it has kind of fish hook shaped needles on it. The longer, darker ones have kind of a curved edge on it. You'll notice there's a lot of red things coming off of this plant, and those are actually fruits. They're all fruits. They're easy to get off too. You know, you just grab the thing and pull. These are all edible right here. In fact, they're actually quite tasty too. It's kind of like a almost like a strawberry taste. They've got a bunch of seeds inside of them, but they're very easy to harvest. The strawberry pincushion cactus grows mainly in Mexico, but can also be found in the southwestern U.S. Its fruits are small and look almost like red peppers. That last one's in there really tight, so I'm just going to leave him. It tastes pretty good though, honestly. Many hiking enthusiasts are drawn to the wilderness of Utah, seeking an adventure. Some travelers do not appreciate the size of the wilderness or the unforgiving terrain. In 2019, at the same time I was filming, a man on a day hike got lost in nearby Bryce Canyon. He had no water and no equipment. The man was lucky to find a stream, which possibly saved his life. He spent 4 days wandering the canyon, never traveling far from the stream. On the 4th day, he was finally located. He was lucky to be alive. In 3 separate events in 2013, hikers went exploring in the southern Utah desert. The summer temperatures were well over 100 degrees. Many people do not realize how dangerous this temperature can be, as they have likely experienced it before. But in normal cases, one can just go inside if they start to overheat. In the wilderness, there's no way to escape the heat. It can overtake you very quickly, as was the case of these 3. All of them died due to heat-related conditions. Let's talk about the supplies real quick. And you may notice that I'm wearing a sweatshirt, even though I'm in the desert. The thing is, the sun is so bright out here that if you don't have some kind of protection, you get sunburned really bad, especially for me because I'm not really from this area. As far as supplies go, we've just got a knife, and I've got a tin can, and I've got some flint on me to make a fire maybe later on. We'll see. Also, obviously, I brought some water with me. That would be very foolish to come out to the middle of the desert with no water. Foolish, I mean life-threatening. This is the juniper. Its bark is very flaky. It's very good for starting fires. Right here, take a look at this. Oh, this is dead. This will work great. Nice and dry. Exactly what you want for tinder. Also, you know, dried grass will work very well for fires, so anything like this, you know, it looks dead, that's exactly what you want. When gathering tinder, it's critical that what you get is dry. In this case, the tinder I've collected is somewhat moist. There is a way to remedy this. Collect the tinder early and store it in your pocket. The heat from your body will dry the material on the move. If you're in a rush, you can also do push-ups to generate more body heat. So we got a little flower over here, white flower. It's got some green leaves on it. This is called evening primrose, or more specifically birdcage evening primrose. It's important to note the dangers that exist when eating wild plants. This is probably the riskiest part of the show, as plants sometimes have poisonous lookalikes. I'm having trouble confirming if it's edible. Different people are saying different things. Consider a case that occurred in 2006. A grandmother in Mexico added some wild mushrooms to her family's dinner. The mushrooms had been taken from the woods earlier that day. However, these mushrooms were highly toxic. The grandmother died several days later. You may have heard of a plant named hemlock. This herb is extremely poisonous and can kill even in small doses. It also looks just like a wild carrot. Take a look at these 2 pictures. Could you tell the difference? I can't eat this thing if I don't know for sure. So I'm just gonna leave it. One of the things that I've been noticing is that this specific area, it starts over there and it comes down this way. To me, it looks a lot like a riverbed, and it makes me wonder if there was water coming through here, maybe it might be possible to dig for water. I walked along a little closer, and right over here, this is kind of the lowest point of this little canyon area. That looks very moist. Honestly, that to me looks like if you dig, you'd probably find some water there. I'd like to try that. Now I've seen some people, some experts, what they'll do is they take a cloth and they dig down into this dirt. You can squeeze the water out of it. You squeeze it. It's clear that animals have also been drinking here. That means that the water will need to be boiled before it can be consumed. You know, I wouldn't drink this water the way it is because it's obvious that animals have been down here too, drinking from this area, and the water would not be sterile. It'd probably make me sick. I could boil this water. That would make it drinkable. I still have some water in my jar, so we don't have to do that. But I mean, the concept of, you know, finding a low area and digging, as you can see, that's fairly effective. In this case, you know, there's plenty of water down there. So, right here, we've got one of my old favorites. This is the prickly pear cactus. There are dozens of species of prickly pear cactuses, and they sometimes crossbreed. This makes identification difficult. As far as I can tell, this is known as the panhandle prickly pear. It grows all over the western U.S. One thing I do know for sure is that these are edible. You can see right here they've got a really pretty flower on it. That is eventually going to turn into a nice plump red fruit. And the fruits are very tasty. In fact, you can buy them in most grocery stores. They taste quite good. The thing to watch is that these cactuses, in addition to having the spines that you see right here, they have these tiny little hair-like spines. You can't really see them. They're almost invisible, but they get stuck on your clothing, they get stuck in your mouth. It's never a pleasant feeling. And what I'd like to do is cut one of these pads off and then start a fire and burn all these glaucids and spines off it and then eat it. They actually taste quite good. So I've got basically a piece of fire steel here. You know, it's basically, you've got this thing and you scrape this metal piece across it and it gives a spark. So, to get the fire, we've got a couple steps. The first step is to get some tinder, which we already have, and you need to crush the tinder up. You know, if you want to get a fire, you really got to crush this up quite a bit. You want this to be like cotton, honestly. And then you're going to sit this batch of crushed up stuff in a pile of the tinder. This is where the spark is going to go. Do not skip this step too, because it's critical to actually getting a flame. Otherwise, you can throw sparks at this all day and it's not going to make a difference. You have to crush it up first. After I get the flame, I'm going to take this stuff and put it on top of it. This is the fuel. So this is crushed up enough, I think. I'll keep doing it until it pops. Oh, I got it. Come on. We're in business, baby. It's worth noting again the hazards that the glaucids pose. Being almost invisible, it's easy to swallow them without knowing. They get stuck in your mouth and throat and will hurt for days. Prior to eating, the pads must be boiled, put to the flame, or at least washed. It's not bad. Prickly pear cactuses were a staple food for natives in North and South America. Even today, it's still a common Mexican dish. This is one of the few things that is around all year. Because there's times when there's just nothing else around, you know. You eat this or you eat nothing. So it's almost nighttime. It's raining a little bit. That's unfortunate. Since it's raining, I figure we might as well try that old technique to catch water in a plastic bag. So basically what you do is, you just take a plastic bag or something plastic, lay it out on the ground to collect rain overnight. Now, I had a plastic bag. I was using it to hold some of my equipment, but I figure, let's give it a shot. We got nothing to lose. So I'm just gonna leave this thing out overnight. We'll see if it collects anything. Make sure you put some rocks, obviously, to hold it in place. And it doesn't even need to be that big of a bag as long as the hole is deep. The hole right here is, I don't know, maybe 6 inches deep. So if that collects 6 inches worth of water, that's definitely a considerable amount. Especially when you're in the desert and you have absolutely no way to get water. It always surprises me how quiet it is out here. It's like you can't hear a person, a car drive by, nothing, Alright, that's it for day one. It drizzled most of the night. Not the most comfortable night, but I've had worse. So I want to check that bag yesterday, and there's absolutely no water in here at all. Now that's very strange. It drizzled a good portion of the night. There had to have been water in here at some point. What I think happened is the bag is right on a seam right here. And I wonder if that's what caused the water to maybe drain out over time, because there should be water in this bag. There's no doubt in my mind. So that's a good lesson, or at least that's worth testing out again next time. If you put the bag on a seam, does that cause the water to leak out faster? Utah offers a visual experience like no other. Rock formations that do not exist anywhere else. A rainbow of colors from the thousands of blossoming flowers. Animals scampering around in full view, making you forget that you're even in a desert. I'm always surprised at the abundance of food in the desert. It's almost easy to find stuff out here. Plus, the things that you find actually taste pretty good. It really highlights the benefit of having a basic knowledge of plants. I'm far from an expert, but I saw many things out here that were edible. This knowledge could save your life someday. While hiking, it's important to see the bigger picture. Though the moment may be tiring, it's the struggles that make your life. No one thinks back with pride to the time they sat on the couch or watched TV. It's the struggle, the journey, the accomplishment. Watching the sunset from the top of a mountain, seeing an eagle fly through the sky. These are the events that define my life.
We're here